Good Sunday morning, everybody. Welcome into the Philly AM Sports with Al and Mike. What's going on, everybody? Merry Christmas. Soon to be Happy New Year, I guess. Get all that out of the way. Hopefully, everyone had a good time. I know I've probably asked this question twice since Christmas now, but Mike, how was your holidays, brother?
I got cold. I was bad this year.
Yeah?
Yeah, nah.
It makes sense, though.
Well, I thought, dealing with having Pat for the past year, I would, at least get something in my stocking. Yeah.
Sainthood, but nothing in your stocking, huh?
No, well, and then I had to go on Christmas and watch the Cowboys win. That was worse, too. Couldn't even get a loss.
Did you watch the Cowboys win, though? Did anybody?
No, they survived. They survived. If that game would have been 15 minutes longer, they'd have lost. Survived
for what? Yeah. It was. I'm surprised they should just. I thought that was going to be a. I guarantee they get yelled at. Like, don't mail this one in because, we're on Netflix. It's like Netflix is going to get pissed because Netflix picked these 3 games, right? And I was telling this. I said this to other. Rob heard me talk about this. Good morning, Rob. That they picked 3 games that probably on paper in the beginning of the season made sense. Figuring Washington was going to be a good team. Figured Dallas was going to be in the hunt, so that's going to be a good matchup. Figured the Chiefs are going to be in the hunt, and the
Chiefs didn't have that. That was on Prime.
Well, I'm just saying the slate of Christmas, games all seemed on paper in the beginning of the season like a good idea. And watching the Lions implode, man, a lot to be said. Give the Eagles a little credit, a little bit. All I heard about on the post game for that and watching, like, going on Twitter and stuff, man, well, the Lions really struggled this year with losing both their coordinators. I'm like, just sipping my coffee, going,
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, it was really kind of interesting to see in this game with them. Good morning, Dave. I know Dave had a good Christmas. He was down there. Joey Sullivan, what's up, Joey?
Merry Christmas to you, Joe.
But for me, honestly, watching this game, it was really kind of disheartening. Like the games, I actually took Minnesota, believe it or not. I know I didn't do props, locks, and parlays this week, but literally I have it written down here, man, of my picks. I had Dallas money line, they won, and I took Minnesota with the 7. I just felt like they were in a slide, man. And you notice the narrative, Al, around the NFL when it comes to the Birds, and I'm going to bring it up in point, and people were pointing this out on Twitter. When the Cowboys played the Raiders on that Monday night, they got praised for the way they were able to dominate and beat up on them. And thump them, right? Eagles go out and play them a month later, and it's like, oh, well, the Eagles are supposed to do that. It's so much of a double narrative when it comes to the Eagles now.
I talk about this all the time, Mike. I really do. And I used to think it was us overreacting, but no, major media absolutely, positively does not, does use the Eagles to fire up their legs, to fire up their, we became the team, once we dethroned, the Chiefs a little bit. Now, when the Chiefs are being downtrodden, the Eagles are an easy target now. They're a good team, so when they don't do perfect, they don't have anything you can complain about. That's where they go. And other teams are going to be great for it. They're always going to, for whatever, give the love to the Cowboys because they're America's team, but whatever. I'll take it. The old saying is, I agree with this. People say, like, we are Philly, nobody likes us, and we don't care. That is the biggest load of crap in the world. Nobody likes it, and we absolutely do care.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I've been looking at this, and I'll be the first one to tell you, man. Like, honestly, I feel like the way I'm going to put it is like both leagues are wide open this year when it comes to teams. Like, there's no team running away with it. Everybody thought it was the Eagles early on. The Eagles kind of fell. Everybody start putting their stake in the Rams. All the Rams are falling off. Now it's Seattle, and everybody's to me, I've seen Seattle probably about 4 times this year, and like, I'm sorry, I think they're a beatable team. So and that's just the NFC. And I'm not buying the 49ers. I don't care what their record is. They've had the third easiest schedule in the NFL this year. Like, I'm not buying the 49ers, not whatsoever.
Listen, if everything was to play out the way it is, and we had to play the Niners, in the playoffs right now, the only thing that I would say scares me about the Niners is the run is Christian McCaffrey, because the run defense has been better, but still not great, and he can gash you. I mean, he can, if he's healthy, he can gash you. That would be the only thing with the Niners that I would, as an Eagles fan, go gulp a little bit when we're playing them. And listen, it's, again, you have to step up, because I know a lot of people are discussing, like one of the discussions I had with Matty B earlier this week. You know, do you, like, a lot of people are asking me, do you play your starters since there's the meaningless game for today, for today and next week? I said next week, definitely not. I mean, even in my idea, even if there's a small chance where you could get the second seed, that it doesn't do nothing for me, to be honest with you. The second seed at this point, health is the most important. But at the same time, I can't go into the Bills game with that mentality. Go in the Bills game and play the game. Play the game. You need to have some sort of real football in front of you. You can't go 2 straight weeks with playing down or not playing at all, because there is a mental aspect to the game that I think that could be more harmful than, you know.
Yeah, and another thing, dude, right, and another thing too, like I said, you're looking around, like, you know, we all had Green Bay as a shoe-in. Well, with that loss last night, dude, listen, they have no breathing room, man. And Joe brings this up right here. The league is so wide open. There isn't a really great team. There's not, man. I'll tell you what.
No.
If I'm the Eagles, I think you go into this game playing the starters, no matter what happens. I think it's more along the lines, like I said, we were talking off air before we came on, you know, about the scenario of where don't be surprised if we don't see the full Josh Allen versus Jalen Hurts today, because of certain things when it comes to, playoff seedings. Because basically they're going to know going into this game, you're going to know before you even take the field. Like for the Eagles, there would be pressure to hold on to that third seed if Carolina beats Seattle today. Okay, so yeah, there will be a little pressure there for them for that. But if you're looking like for Buffalo, Buffalo's either going to be the number 2 or was it no? Either the highest I think they can go is 3, and the lowest they'll be is 5. So again, like you're really kind of walking on eggshells with what you kind of have to plan out to do, because if the Jets somehow beat New England, then you already know you're going to get Josh Allen and that whole Buffalo team coming at you. Same thing where if Carolina wins, I think today, that kind of puts pressure on the Eagles to maintain that third thing. I like the Eagles big today anyway. I just by the way the teams match up, to be honest with you, you shut down James Cook, you take Cook and you take Kincaid. You shut down Kincaid and Cook, you shut down the Buffalo Bills. It's just that plain and simple. They have no outside wide receiver threat at all. Like none. So
and here's the other thing to kind of go along with what Joe and you were talking about with the league being wide open. If we just look at I'm looking at the playoff picture right now. The only team that's really in the hunt or on the bubble are the Ravens and the Steelers, but the Ravens will be knocked out if the Steelers win today. Playing Cleveland, it could go any which way on that one in my eyes, but that division's trash. Sorry, calling it for what it's worth. But I mean, the Broncos, 13-3. I'm sorry. Patriots are 12-3. The Jags are they got
a big game today.
Yeah,
them and the Colts. Yeah, that's going to be a really good game.
I think they win that because I don't think the Colts have. I just don't. I mean, I would love to see 44-year-old Phillip Rivers come in and do a good job, but their defense is not non-existent. I mean, it's not on him at this point. He don't play defense. But the Jags are a questionable team. If you ask me, the Bills have the best route right now than they've ever had to a Super Bowl because of the experience factor. I think Bo Nix and I think the Patriots and all the young guys that they have they have the abilities, but I think it will play the experience factor is going to play big on the AFC side of things. But on the NFC side of things, it's not too undifferent in that situation. Like the Bears don't have the playoff experience, and they're, to me, a good team, but they're also a very Jekyll and Hyde type team. The Seahawks, we all know Sam Darnold's kind of situation. We'll see if he can beat those odds. The Niners we discussed. The Rams are good. Matt Stafford has the experience, but they also make a lot of mistakes, and the injury bug is playing a little bit of a factor in there with them. And the Packers are a mash unit, man, just an absolute mash unit. So that plays a factor. Where's my Eagles gear, Rob? I told you that last time. If I'm using my green screen, so Mike's not using a green screen. Mike's just using the virtual green screen, so he gets away with it. But if I put on green right now, I got a green hat and green. Like I'm wearing what Mike's wearing right now. I'm just a floating head. That's all you're seeing. The floating head, hands and head floating around. Like
that's why I use the black background, man. Brings out the green. But yeah, Al, definitely, man. I hear you with that. Good morning, Ryan. How are you? Happy holidays to you, buddy. But yeah, like the more I think about this NFC really playoff picture, because like again, like I don't have who's on the bubble, but I gotta imagine Carolina's probably right there on the bubble too. Like Carolina, Tampa is probably right there now with that Green Bay loss last night. So there you could, like, the worst division of football is probably our division because of what's going on, but the second worst is probably the NFC South, and they could possibly get two teams. He said, New England will be good for a long time. We will win some Super Bowls again in the near future. They are set up once again. Hold on, Ryan. What says we will win? Well, I thought he said we will win. I was about to say, what's this we stuff? I don't know about that. Listen, they're having a good year. Let's see them with a harder schedule.
Again, that's a crowning or an early crowning a la the Commanders and Jay Daniels. You know what I mean? Like, let's see what happens when people have a year to scheme up on them. There's, like you said, the schedule gets a little tougher because look at the Broncos, look at the Patriots. Look at all these teams that, you know, people are talking about, the Bears, the Seahawks. Look at the strength of schedule versus the Eagles. Eagles have their opponents have the better win-loss ratio than any other of the opponents those teams we just talked about. And we're still somehow limping our way in, not limping, but keeping stride. Of course, our division was a little helpful. But, you know, like, let's wait for a year or two before, like, Matty B and I, of course, argued on Friday. I know, everybody just relax. I know this is some shocking revelation that me and him argued about things. And he to try to prove his point. He asked me if they did some sort of, like, clean the slate mock draft, like a dynasty draft, fantasy draft, for the NFL, and the Eagles had the first overall pick. Are you taking Jalen Hurts? And I said, no, I'm probably taking Patrick Mahomes. But I said, if you take Jalen Hurts, is, in my eyes, maybe the second or third other quarterback I'd take that are currently available right now in the NFL. You can make an argument for Josh Allen, but I can also make the argument, what has Josh Allen done? Josh Allen has had all the same excuses that Jalen Hurts has had, except he's had more flashier stats. That's probably the only thing that Josh Allen has had in the regular season for MVP discussion. He has had flashier stats. But when it comes to playoff and comes to winning, Josh Allen has not proven that yet.
No, Josh Allen, he's choked. He's choked. Every time he's going up against Kansas City, you know, he does not play well. Now, granted, they play him well in the regular season. They have beaten them in the regular season. Now, it's funny you mentioned about strength of schedule. I'm looking at the Eagles' 2026 schedule, right? This is their home schedule. Ready?
Yeah.
They have their 3 divisionals. They got the Rams here, the Seahawks here, Houston's here, Indianapolis is here, right? Then it says NFC South. So whoever wins the NFC South will be here, and then whoever wins the North. So it's either Baltimore or Pittsburgh. That's just their home schedule.
Mm.
Their road schedule is the three divisionals, right? Arizona,
Okay.
Jacksonville,
Okay.
San Francisco,
All right.
and probably Chicago since they won the North. They clinched the North yesterday. That's their road schedule. And,
yeah. It's not going to get easier. I mean,
guess what?
We're not having an easy schedule outside of us imploding.
Right. And hey, just to keep in mind, too, one of these home games will be in Australia next year because the Eagles got the game in Australia next year.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
So you got to get on a plane and fly on the other.
International games are getting old for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? And I don't like that, too, because you know what? If you're going to go to a 17th game, I don't feel like you should chip off the home fans. If they get 9 home games that year, why is it that every year when you get a 9th home game, you're playing abroad somewhere?
Like, that's evening it out. They're evening it out. So you get 8 and 8 at that point. The 9th game doesn't count. That's pretty much how they look at it.
But
no, like that's my thing is I just think we everybody wants to like Caleb Williams. They do it like Bears are going to be. They are a much better team. But don't tell me it has nothing to do with Ben Johnson and his ability to do what he's doing. Bo Nix is definitely turning into a very good quarterback, but he isn't like, you could make the same argument that Matty B likes to make about the Eagles and the defense. You know what I mean? Like, Bo Nix has been helped out a lot about having a really good defense. So, like, before we just start crowning people, of all the quarterbacks right now that are in the playoffs, there's only one guy who's been to the show twice. There's only one guy who's won the show. And remember, like, even Josh Allen, same arguments can be made. He's had really good offensive lines. I know this year isn't one of those years. He's had really good wide receiver options. I know this year is not one of those years, and he's had usually good running backs or two. And he still hasn't gotten it done. And then it was, he has to go through Patrick Mahomes. We did it.
Yeah, that's the whole thing in a nutshell. That's why, like, I'm hoping in a way, dude, honestly, today, like, both teams play their regular guys. I mean, I do. Because I don't want people coming back tomorrow or, all the talking heads throughout the week going, Josh Allen only played a half. Well, you know what? Like, I don't want to hear that.
It's going to be his foot if he gets sacked too much. He doesn't have the same mobility. That's why he got sacked so much. His O-line isn't really good. Listen, isn't this a lot of the same stuff we've heard?
Yes. And it's every time the Eagles beat a team that everybody has on, that they say is up there or whatever, every time it's, this is why they didn't. And I'm like, no, I'm not trying to hear that. Like, I'm sorry. You can't tell me at one point in time he had Stephon Diggs on one side of him and he had Gabe Davis, who at that time was a pretty damn good wide receiver. So, yeah, Josh Allen has had weapons up there. He's had James Cook the whole time he was there. Mm-hmm. Okay. I do like before, Dalton Kincaid got there, he had Dawson Knox as the tight end. Yep. So, I mean, he's had weapons.
He's had Diggs as a wide receiver. He's had the opportunities.
What's the kid's So, I mean, they've had people up there. So, my thing is this, and I don't think it's going to be a close game there. I think the Eagles are going to rock them. I really do. Because they can't stop the run for nothing. And I'm sorry, Buffalo has not played a defense like this other than playing Houston. And when they played Houston, they got their ass handed to them. And the Eagles' defense is right up there with Houston's defense. Yeah. They're going to be able, if they keep their lane discipline today, Josh Allen's going to have a long day. You know what I mean? And like I said, the only way I can see them doing it, they're going to have to force feed James Cook. Like, James Cook may get, he may get a majority of the touches today for them, but I just see the Eagles' defense. This is what it comes down to for me. Our defense is a lot better than theirs. And where these people are getting at that the Eagles are going to give up 30 points today, like, go back and look over the last 5 games.
I'm gonna go over my keys to the game, and I think we're a lockstep in a lot of them. But let's look at our boy Steve saying, "Good morning, fellas. Hope Santa was good to you guys." In a season where parity is clearly showing in the NFL, I think the Eagles' playoff experience will be huge and needed. I think that's 100%. That's what I'm saying. I think that's what's going to be the difference maker for the Eagles going into this, knowing how to lick their wounds at the right time, how to prepare for the noise and the show. I think you're going to hear that. Let's see what Ryan's saying. Josh Allen is forced to. Not good wide receiver, but he still finds the stats to get lots of yards. That's the regular season. But in the playoffs, it makes a huge difference and affects him. The playoffs make it difficult not having good receivers. Can't get by like the regular season. Well, you can't get by like the regular season also is when you're in the playoffs, you're playing good teams. You're not going to get any cookie teams. You're not going to get any teams that are going to have off days. You're going to get the teams at their best. And then that's a big difference there. Look at the Lions offense this season and its struggles. That's all Ben Johnson leaving, and it's showing in Chicago now. Yeah. And that's all we heard about how, even with my gripes with Kevin Patullo, they've been able to, and, they've been able, that's because Jalen Hurts has really good weapons around them. I'm like, come on, man. Like, when does it ever, like, I'm not sitting there saying you have to love Jalen Hurts or all Jalen Hurts is a god or anything, but give the man a little respect. Give him the respect where it's due. Yeah, he had a real clunker game against the Chargers, an absolute clunker. That was a gift to the Chargers. And let me remind you, it took an overtime interception number 5 or turnover or whatever number 5 for the day for them to actually beat the Eagles. Like it wasn't like they came in here and beat the brakes off of us. Even though we gave them every opportunity to do so, they still. I mean,
they put up 22 points with 5 turnovers. What's that say? And that's and that's Mr. Justin Herbert, the one everybody loves.
Justin Herbert's the biggest fraud in my eyes.
Listen, I just went back and looked at our schedule for this year. The Eagles have only given up 30 points, over 30 points one time this year.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And that was it. And it was to the Giants. Everybody else they've kept under.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, the Giants were 34. I'm trying to take a look around. I think the next highest after that was the Rams at 26, the Bucks at 25. You got the Cowboys 24, Vikings were 22, Chargers 22, Bears 24. So they've kept people under 30 points this game. So I want to know where the hell these people are saying that our defense is going to give up over 30 points. I watched the talking heads. All right. These people who get paid to talk about this stuff, and they're all picking the Bills like 31-21, 31-24. I'm scratching my head going, Eagles haven't given up over 30 points but one time this year. Where do you guys see this? You know what I mean?
So right now, remember I said earlier, so the key opponents. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on 1 second.
Oh, I heard the coughing.
Oh, hold on.
The coffin is open.
Coffin has arrived. I've invoked him. I said his name too many times. It's kind of like Beetlejuice.
Yeah, right.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to your last Homer affirmation of 2025. Remember, there's enough Kool-Aid for everyone. Remember, there's enough trying to sell your own Kool-Aid. There ain't nobody that people aren't buying. My friend. Because
I don't know. I'm gonna have the post game later. So, like I said, I think the Eagles are going to dominate them today. I really do. I don't think it's going to be a close game.
I don't know about domination. I really don't know about domination. We'll go over that. But I think the Eagles. This is a coin toss type of game in my eyes. This could go either which way. Whoever plays not perfect football the most will win. Will lose this game. But here I go in 11 games. They combined for a 5.61 winning percentage. That's all the people that the Eagles have played this year so far. That makes them the 4th hardest schedule in the NFL. You know what I mean? And then that's not taken. Nobody takes that, and that's with having the Giants being played twice. That's with playing the Commanders twice. That's with playing Dallas Cowboys twice. But other than that, I mean, who else? Green Bay Packers, they're above 500. The Lions are at 500. Imagine if our teams in the division were like close to 500. It would be a whole lot higher.
And that's
Broncos, of course, are 800 with their record.
I'm sitting here looking at some of these games, right, that the Bills played in, and I'm looking at some of these top defenses that they played in, literally against the top defenses. Houston, let's see. I'm not even going to say Pittsburgh, the Patriots twice. Like, I'm looking at some of these games where they played really good defenses, and you're looking at it, and the Bills have really just kind of struggled. The probably the best defense they've played so far was Houston, but in that game, he was sacked. They won 23. They lost that game 23-19, which means he had his worst day ever. He was 24 of 34 for 253 yards with 2 interceptions, no touchdowns. And he lost to Davis Mills. That started Houston's winning streak, was this game. Okay? Matter of fact, like, again, this is what I'm saying. Like, they sacked him in this game, if I remember correctly. I think they sacked him probably 6 times, I think it was.
Okay.
In this game.
Well, here's the thing is, and on Maddie's show, on the Birds Blast earlier on Friday, around noon, we had a show, I chose the Bills to win, but by 3 points. And the only reason I chose it for them is because they have a lot more juice riding on this game. It's a home game for them, one of the last 2 home games, regular season home games, up at the Orchard Park for the Bills. So there's a little bit more juice there for them too. But, you know, you got the best first half offense going up against the best second half offense. So it's really going to come down to the defense. So here are my key matchups. I'm going to repeat them for those who maybe have heard them already. But my key matchup is the Eagles run game versus the Bills run defense. Okay. That's the most significant mismatch because as of recently, probably a little bit better. But again, you have to go. This was against the Raiders, and this was also against the Commanders, who have really beat up at the front in on the defensive side. So that's going to be the biggest mismatch, I think, of the game, Eagles to Bills, and that side of it. Then it's going to be the Bills' pass offense and the pass defense. That's where the mismatch that favors the Eagles. Now, the weather can play a factor, which is going to keep that ground game going, and the Eagles' run defense is still questionable at times. And as you mentioned earlier, Cooks can cook. We all know he can do that, and they rely on him. If they can shut him down, that's where the Eagles can start to – if there will be any domination, that's where the Eagles will do it. And, of course, get to Josh Allen and make him make mistakes because Josh Allen's a gunslinger. What do gunslingers do? They make mistakes. And, you know, and if Josh Allen has 3 or 4 turnovers today, well, you know, that happens sometimes in his game. You know, you're going to get the excuses coming down.
Well, here's the thing that I'm going to be looking for.
When they talk about him, they were talking about him as a Hall of Famer.
Right. I'm sorry. If Josh Allen is a Hall of Famer, then, you know, Jalen Hurts should already be in because he's done something that Josh Allen hasn't done. Like, I that's it. I mean, you could probably put Nick Foles ahead of him. Like, that's the whole thing about getting in the Hall of Fame. If you don't have a Super Bowl win under there, then you got to patch that. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't be surprised at the end of his career if you're looking at Dak Prescott as a Hall of Famer, just because of how much, you know, is going to be that. But my thing is this: with the inclement weather, okay, they have a big loss in their secondary due to Bills. Jordan Poyer, I don't think going to be available for this game. They were talking about he's probably going to be out with a bad foot. I love Dallas Goedert in this game. I think Dallas Goedert would be, I think Dallas Goedert is going to be one. I saw Maddie put up there. Can you click on his comment?
Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly who I'm talking about. Dan Marino. Dan Marino could not get his team to the big game. Again, that's what I mean. He is the epitome of a guy who padded his stats, had great years, but could never get his team there. That's what Josh Allen falls under. That's what Josh Allen will be. Josh Allen will be that guy. He's this generation's Dan Marino. So I'm glad you brought that up, Maddie, because that's exactly what he is. He said the weather might be a factor in this game. Just saying, scoring for both teams might be tight. Just saying, well, if that's the case, then I like the Eagles. Again, I like the Eagles even more because that's playing right into the strength. You know what I'm
saying? And here's my other thing is I'm really hoping that we see more of the offensive line play that we saw against the Commanders because, number one, one of the biggest things that killed us, and I'm being a little repetitive here because I've said it before, but it hasn't changed because the game hasn't gone off in my eyes, is the offensive line and the play calling has to come in sooner because if you watch the first half to the second half, watch that play clock. They were getting down to the 3, 2, 1, And they were just coming up at the 8-second marker. Like that was like the earliest they got up there, and it did not give the O-line any time to diagnose what the defense is about to throw at them. They were barely getting the ball off on time. I'm surprised that a couple of yellow flags weren't thrown for delay of game more often. So I'm hoping that they continue that trend that they did in the second half, where they're getting up to the line with 15 or more seconds to get up there. That's going to be a big one to allow them, and I want to see more pulling from the line. I believe Jalen Carter might be a big impact in today's game, a 24-21 win. I wonder if you think there's going to be a snap count for him?
I don't think so. Like the way he's talking, he wants to play all 60 minutes. The way he was talking. It's because of the talent and the Marino effect. Hurts is elevated because of the people. I ain't trying to hear that. Go back and look at Marino's teams. Jesus Christ, he had the 2 greatest wide receivers on his team, and they still couldn't win a damn championship. Don't hand me that bullshit. Oh, God. Right away. This is how you know this is a hatred for the guy, not for.
He tried to tell me he doesn't hate him. That's me. Go back.
This is how you know it's all right, or dislike of the player. Come on, he had Duper and Clayton. They were the 2 greatest friggin' wide receivers ever. They went to the Hall of Fame. Okay, because Danny was slinging them the ball. Get the hell out of here. Okay, they end up getting a really good. You want me to name some of these wide receivers, Maddie, that they've had over the years in Miami? Give me a break. I ain't trying to hear that crap. Marino didn't win. When it came to playoffs,
Can you tell me?
He bigger than any team ever. How many? Go back and look at how many games he was favorite to win in the playoffs. You're only a couple of years older than me, but I stuck around. I saw Dan Marino play. Actually went to the game Don Shula actually won, which by the way wasn't started by Dan Marino. It was by Doug Peterson when he became the winningest coach. I was at that game at the Vet. Miami beat us that day.
Well, here's my question: is I'm running this through here. There's 36 different quarterbacks who've won the Super Bowl. Okay, and that's including Tom Brady with New England and Tampa Bay, Terry Bradshaw and all them. He has 4. Like, are you looking? You're telling me like now you could make. There's probably a handful that you could make this excuse for. Tom Brady did elevate some teams, some players to play better, because how many guys left New England and didn't have the success they had in New England? They had, but I mean, you're telling me Patrick Mahomes and his 3 championships didn't have really good players around him, a good offensive line around him? Are you telling me Joe Montana didn't have really good players around him when he won his 4 titles? Like, what one of these guys? I'm going through this. Troy Aikman, Bart Starr, Roger Staubach, John Elway. Like, what one of these guys, even Peyton Manning, one of his was all defense. I'll give him that. Didn't have the offensive weapons and line play around him to help them.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
What quarterback? Eli Manning. Like, he's a guy. I mean, he's not, in my eyes, he's not. He's probably going to go to Canton at one point, but because he has 2 Super Bowls, but he also had really good teams around him. But that's my point. Is like everything is like. Why do people keep saying that? Like, why? What does Jalen Hurts have to do? Give him a bunch of scrubs and still win? Because tell me when that's ever worked out for any team. Tell me one quarterback who has done it all by himself. Did Drew Brees not have a lot of good wide receivers around him when he threw for as many yards?
Like, he had a good team down there. That's what I'm saying. Like, again, he said it was the 84 team. Yeah, it was the team that lost to the 49ers. That was a stacked team, but I'll tell you what, they also had a stacked team in 91 too, and couldn't even win their own division. So I
Montana play with 9 Hall of Famers.
Well, God, everybody back then became a Hall of Famer on the 49ers. They hit home runs in the draft, man. That's one thing you got to tip your cap for some of those great teams. But like I said, like you're sitting there talking like that's who I compare Josh Allen to. I compare Josh Allen to this generation's Dan Marino until he wins one. He's going to be that guy who gets in. And my thing is, what's going to be the excuse this year if they don't do it? Because there is no Patrick Mahomes. Okay. There is no Patrick Mahomes. there's probably not going to be a Lamar Jackson because as long as the Steelers win, they have that big matchup next week. Okay, so again, like it's literally pointing down to. Let me just double check. Yeah, they're literally one game up on them right now. The Ravens are at 8-8, and right now they're at 9-6. So if the Steelers win today, they're up by 2. So the Steelers can basically clinch the division today.
Oh yeah, if the Steelers win today, Baltimore's out.
Right.
Baltimore was all excited yesterday, but their fate is not in their hands. Their fate is the Steelers losing the Cleveland Browns today.
Right, exactly.
Divisional game, so it's possible. I'm not saying it's impossible. They kind of gave Josh Allen a run for his money not last week. But Soldier Steve saying, did Drew Brees need an onside kick to win a ring?
Yeah, he did. But morning, Mickey.
Mickey, what's going on? Welcome from Seattle.
But this is what I'm saying, though. If you're really paying attention to this, there's only one spot left in the whole AFC, which is the Steelers game today. So if they win that game, that thing's all set. So now you're telling me that what's going to stand in his way are the Chargers, the Broncos, the Texans, the Jaguars. Okay. Hold on. The Bill and the Patriots. Those are the teams right there. But again, do you really see Cleveland losing or beating the Steelers today? I don't. I don't see Shedeur Sanders beating Rodgers. I mean, I think it will be a close game because all their games are pretty darn close. But for me, honestly, again, what will be?
I think Baltimore's out. If Pitt win,
if Pitt loses today, next week it's for all tomorrow.
Yes, then it's a fight. If Pitt loses today, Steelers fans are going to go nuts, absolutely nuts. So here's the thing I wanted to bring up to everybody, and I think the difference, and you still hear the 23 and this year's comparisons coming out a lot. I think the big difference is how good the defense versus how good the offense is, right? I'd rather have an offense who is not highly as ranked versus a defense that's much higher, because I think we all say defense wins championships, right? And it's in my eyes, if you can stifle these teams in front of you, then it will make it easier for the Eagles to be able to score. If your defense can't stop Matthew Stafford from scoring on will with Puka Nacua, we're in trouble. That's the difference here. That's what gives me any hope going into the playoffs, that how well this defense is playing right now. And I'm looking at this right now. Where we can use defense versus offense. If you look at the last few years of winning, most of these defenses were top 10, most of them, 7 or above, as well. And even the Broncos in 2015, the one I was talking about, they had the top number 1 defense, but they also had the 19th ranked offense. That was the one with Peyton was like benched at one point, I think for Brock Osweiler or whatever it was. And he was just that's when the defense just tore apart Cam Newton and pretty much retired him at that point. But like, that's my point. Like, you can get away with it. I mean, outside of the Giants in 2011, who had the 25th ranked defense and the 9th ranked offense when they just, shocked the world. That's the only time that argument really didn't. Oh, and the Saints one we were just talking about, that also plays a factor in it. But other than that, like it's definitely defense has been the most important.
Oh man, you know what? Like I said, I'm sitting here. I'm looking at Mickey's rooting for his Hawks, and me and Mick are kind of mortal enemies today. Flyers and Kraken play later on tonight. Yeah. So we'll be going at Mickey. You better make sure you get in here after our Flyers win that game tonight.
Yeah, I want to get his opinions on it.
Yeah. I'm looking at this here. It said even with the loss last night, the Packers actually clinched a playoff spot. So they clinched the wild card.
What were they, 9-6-1?
No, they're 9-6-1. So the best. I mean, right now the Panthers. I think the Panthers, if they win today, it's going to be hard for the Bucks because they're at 8-7.
The Bucks are 7-8, and they're 8-7. So, even if the Green Bay loses next week, they'll be 9-7-1. If Tampa, one of those two teams are going to lose today, or no,
maybe both.
Definitely. I think the Bucs are the most hapless team. I think they're not going in because even though they're playing the Dolphins, who are another very hapless team, I call this the hapless bowl. Because both teams, it's like, you take the win. No, you take the win. Here's the win. No, you have the win. Like,
yeah, but you know what though? I'm going to be excited to watch that game, or at least like kind of like
one of the few people. What do you put?
Listen, I like Quinn Ewers.
What do you put onto this one?
I like Quinn Ewers, so I want to see how he does.
I thought maybe you put the mortgage on this game, like
no,
like a true degenerate in that situation. It's like it was that movie. The guy he's like, you bet against Rocky. Looks like I lost Mike for a second, but I mean the Bucs are a hapless team. They're playing the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins win that game, to be completely and utterly honest with everybody. I think the Bucs are just going to lose. They don't know how to win right now. But even if they win it, they're 8-8 at that point. If the Panthers win, they're 9-7. But they win the division at that point. So this time they're just trying to see who's winning the South at this point for the Bucs and Panthers. So the other team really can't sneak in, especially the Bucs. So if the Panthers get this one, that's why Green Bay is pretty much guaranteed. But they're chopped apart. They're absolutely chopped apart. Like the guy, I think the hardest working person in Green Bay is the guy who brings the card out anymore. And I'm not trying to be funny. Injuries aren't funny, but that team is definitely if you want to complain about an injury bug, that team is the team that has had the most dealings with the injury bug. You know what I mean? And it makes it real difficult to watch sometimes when I was watching the game last night. But let's swing back to the Eagles here. I get why people can be high on winning this game. I can get why people are low on winning this game. This is a bit of a coin flip game in my eyes, and it really is going to be disciplined football, and the run game and the run defense, run game and run defense on both sides. If one team's run defense can stop the other teams, that's going to be the difference maker for both these teams. I don't see Josh Allen not throwing the ball, but between the weather, between the defense he's going up against, they're going to have some pretty good disguised offenses and some interesting routes to go up against the Eagles and not hope to turn the ball over too much. And that's the other thing. If you can get some early turnovers, and Matty B's credit, that will be the difference maker today. And I mean, the difference maker in most games, so he's not wrong on it. But, if you can get him to make mistakes early, that really can turn the tides quickly of this game. Absolutely. Let's see. Week 18 potential games for their division. Pitt versus Baltimore, Seattle versus San Fran, Carolina versus Tampa Bay. Good viewing for an Eagles quote-unquote bye week. You're right, Steve. You're absolutely right. I mean, again, Carolina, Tampa Bay, it's just like whatever at that point for both those teams. I mean, I feel good for Carolina in the sense, them to kind of work their way through it. I think, there he is. He's back.
Ooh, man, that was crazy. I'm sitting here talking, all of a sudden, my mic, my camera, my light all went dead.
Matty B.
Oh,
he didn't like what you had to say, so he shut you down.
Yeah, pretty much. Matty B did that, I bet you. He did his voodoo.
He does. He has little pin cushions for our audio equipment. And he's
yeah, but, exactly. He says absolutely not.
But the Pitt Baltimore one, I know we have a lot of Pittsburgh fans on this network. I don't know what you're hoping for. Either team. Baltimore's trash. They are. I'm going to just say it. I don't. Mike? Who's the most overrated QB currently in the NFL in your eyes?
I know where you're going with that, but I'm not going to say Lamar Jackson because
I'm not saying it is either. I'm just saying.
Right now, looking at it, who do I feel is the most overrated quarterback in the league? I'm going to say Sam Darnold. I feel like he's overrated.
I would probably lean more towards Justin Herbert because people still stroke that guy like he's the second coming of Jesus, and it's not like he's been. Listen, Bo Nix and Drake May, they get a little leeway because of. They don't know, we don't know what they are. yet. They still have time to grow and make mistakes. I'm not saying Justin Herbert doesn't have time to grow, but he's had plenty of time, and he's a very Jekyll and Hyde player. But also when it comes down to it, when the time comes to win, he can't. I mean, we saw him come in and play against the Jags a few seasons back and just get completely shellacked.
Yeah, well, he got shellacked last year.
A Jags team that limped their way into the playoffs.
Listen, he got shellacked by the Texans last year in the postseason. He got shellacked yesterday by it. But I will say this. That dude is probably, even though a lot of people, they kind of put him on a pedestal up there, he's had like the worst, and I mean the worst offensive line. He lost his one Pro Bowl tackle in training camp. Then they go get another, then he lost the other Pro Bowl tackle just about 4 or 5 weeks ago. So, and the middle of their line is just, if you watched it yesterday, holy cow. That dude has no interior line. Like the Texans just annihilated them yesterday, going up and down the middle on that. So in his defense, he really doesn't have a line to stand behind.
I get that, and kind of here, and Bruce, we'll come back to your question about Embiid in a minute. Just what you and Mikey, you and Maddie are on the same page in the sense of the line, but our line has been not good at all, and he has survived. I mean, you had Cam Jurgens played half the games. You've had Landon Dickerson come out of games about 5 times. You've had Steen, who hasn't been really good at all. He's been mediocre. He's had some good games, but for the most part, mediocre. Lane Johnson hasn't been there half the time, so you've had the other Fred Johnson playing for him.
Big Fred.
And Mailata, for the most part, has had an okay season. It's definitely not been Mailata's best season. So
I think he's had
not as bad as the Chargers, I'm sure, but he has been doing that. Like, that's my point. Like, we get so stuck in our narrative or stuck in
because there's a narrative out there, Al, about Jalen Hurts. That's why that narrative's been out there since he came into the league, and people are going to continue to stick and run with it. The guy's already outdueled Mahomes twice in a Super Bowl. All right, granted they lost the first one, but he came back and they blew the doors off, and the guy's still not getting credit. So I mean, listen, people are just going to say what they're going to say. Getting on to this here, Steve, I'm sorry, but yeah. I don't need to know nothing more about Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold is a guy who benefits from situations. Let him win a playoff game first, and then I'll worry about putting him out of that category. That's why I feel he's one of the most overrated quarterbacks in the league, because he did do it with Minnesota. He did do it with Seattle, but when it comes time for him to have to throw the ball around and sling it around, I mean, dude, he just got his first ever fourth quarter comeback just a couple weeks ago against the Rams.
And I get what he's saying, that when you play for the Jets, you can make you look really bad. And Sam Darnold had a really good team. And maybe Minnesota does wish to have him back because J.J. McCarthy, they listen, I get why they did it. They had to give J.J. his chance. And J.J. could still be an okay quarterback. I don't think he's ever going to be anything superstarish.
No.
But with that being said, I also can't say he's a winner either. He's had 2 seasons in a row where he's taken teams and done a lot with them, but at the same time, anytime he gets to where it's most important, he turtles.
He does.
So until he does that, I can't not label him a loser. Maybe he's done a lot better in the regular season than we thought he would. Bob Sitter going, Eagles win 28-21, so he's gone by a touchdown. Bruce is saying, I feel Baker Mayfield is the number 1 overrated quarterback as everyone blames injuries to wide receivers. He always throws interceptions because he thinks he's so great. Listen, you could definitely make an argument for that too. I don't know if he's overrated. I don't think people rate him as this top-tier quarterback. I think people rate him just right. He has flashes of greatness, and his cockiness makes him a problem. I mean, it's been like that way since college for Baker Mayfield. And I give him credit. He kind of like what Steve just said about Sam Darnold. He was at the other team that makes quarterbacks look bad with Cleveland. And then he went to Tampa, and after Tom Brady was there and had to fill in for him. But yeah, I mean, listen, he's good, but he's not great. And if anybody says
the problem with Mayfield is that his damn wide receivers can't stay healthy. Like, I'm going to keep it a bean there. I mean, like, dude, he's throwing the guys like Sterling Shepard and 2 rookies because Mike Evans can't stay healthy and Chris Godwin can't stay healthy. Neither one of them guys have been healthy for about the last 4 years. Okay, so I think that's kind of a bad rap there, especially when he's got to play 2 rookies there. Steve's comment of coming here, man. Yeah, he didn't make the playoffs because he was on the Jets. I understand that, but what I'm telling you is, look what he did when he did make the playoffs. He was a shell of his former self inside of the season. I don't want to hear about it. Sam Darnold, to me, is one of those regular season quarterbacks. He's going to fall under that Dak category soon, okay, where he can get his team to the postseason, but he can't get them over the hump. And that's why I don't have no faith in Seattle. I think the NFC title game is going to be between the Eagles and the Rams. Now, where it's at is all depends on who finishes where. But
conversation in Seattle, like – say, let's play devil's advocate for a moment. What's the conversation on Seattle terrestrial radio about if Seahawks go and they get bounced in the first round if they don't have the bye, or even if they have the bye and they get bounced in the first round that they play? Who are they blaming, and who are they?
It's clearly going to fall on Sam Darnold out there because they built the defense up around out there. They do have an explosive wide receiver in JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba. They got 2 great running backs in Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonneau. All right. They got a pretty good tight end in AJ Barner. So, I mean, they have the pieces out there to do it. It all reverts back to the quarterback. And when Sam Darnold has not had his good games this year, which has only been 3, okay, he's looked bad. And they forced Sam Darnold to go down the field and have them beat him. And, so far, when they're able to run the ball and control the clock and, use their defense to stop people, which, by the way, Seattle's got a really good defense. But
really good defense.
They do. But if you're looking at it, like right now, they're at the number 1, so they would get the bye. But here's the thing. They play the 49ers next week. Okay? If the 49ers – if they say both teams win, right? 49ers win and Seattle wins. They got to go to Santa Clara to play the 49ers. Guess what? The 49ers can go from the 5th seed to the 1st seed if they beat them next week. So that's going to be a monster game. And I'm telling you, the loser of that game, I think, is going to feel the effects in the wild card because the division's not wrapped up. Like, to me, like, if you're looking at the playoff scenarios, to me, I just don't see how they can, I think the Rams would be like, what, the 5th seed, right? Now that I'm thinking about that, right? The Rams
right now they're the 6th seed.
They're the 6th seed?
Right now, yeah. They're tied 11-4 with the Niners, but I guess the Niners have the tie, whatever the
tiebreaker. They have the tiebreaker over them. So what? So that means
they need the Niners to lose it to Chicago. Making Chicago 12 would make them 12-4. If Seattle wins today, they'd be 12, which I think they could easily. It's Carolina, but we'll find out. Carolina's kind of a sneaky team this year. They'd be 12-4 if they win. So both the Bears and the Seahawks would be 12-4. So I guess it goes up to the tiebreaker on that one for them.
Yeah, it would look like this. The Bears right now, like, they, believe it or not, it would actually come down. I mean, if you really think about it for a second, you would have to look at, like, that Monday night game is pretty big for the Bears. Because if Seattle should stumble, the Bears could actually move up to first place and have the number 1 overall seeding.
Sure.
They would have to go by their conference record. I don't know what the Bears' conference record is, but hold on. It's got the tiebreakers right here. Never mind.
I'm looking at the NFL playoff picture website.
Yeah, so am I. That's what I'm looking at myself. And you see right here, but they play, like I said.
Tie-breaking procedures. Oh, no, that's just the procedures. So the tie-breaking procedures, with the tie within a division. All right.
So far, San Francisco has beaten both the Rams and the Seahawks. I think they're 1-1 against the Rams or the Niners, and they're 1-0 against the Seahawks, which because they got game 2 next week. So if you're really looking at this, like, I think the Packers are in Like these are your teams right here. Like so, the Packers are going to be 7, but it all depends on really what the conference record is between those 3 teams. You know what I mean? So if
that's the other thing about the Eagles. Like, all right, say the gods shine upon the Eagles fans, and the Bears and the Seahawks lose the next 2 games, and Eagles win the next 2 games. We would be 12-5. The Bears would be 11-6, and the Seahawks would be 12-5. So whatever our tiebreaker would be for us to get that would be the only way we would get the number 1 spot. But I don't even know if the Seahawks we have the tiebreaker against them. So at best, we probably can do is the number 2 spot at this point. And to me, what does that get you? You get to play the Rams.
No, you get to play the Packers. You would play the Packers.
Oh yeah, that's right, the Packers, because you're not.
We would play the Rams now, but again, you have the Rams got Arizona next week. They got Atlanta and Arizona, so I picture them to get 2 more wins.
Yeah.
All right. I picture them to be around 13-4 going into this. Now, the problem is, like the 49ers, they have 2 tough games. They have the Bears Monday night, and then they got Seattle the following week. So I'm sitting there looking at this, man. Yeah, that's Mickey, that's your time.
That's West Coast time, dude.
That's West Coast time, buddy. It's 8:30.
That's where I'm jealous of West Coast people, man. I would love to wake up at what would it be, 11 o'clock or not wake up
10
at
a.m. 10 a.m.
10 a.m. I would love to wake up, make breakfast, and sit down and watch the 1 o'clock games that we would have to watch. And then Sunday night football's over by the time we're starting it for them.
Yeah. Excuse me. I was out in Vegas twice during football season. One time I was younger. I got up, looked at a friend of mine, and was like, "What time the 1 o'clock games start?" Or like, no, I think like their 1 o'clock game was like Rams and Niners, and I'm like, "Oh, cool." I said, "So who's the 4 o'clock game?" And they kind of laughed at me. I was like, "What's so funny?" They're like, "Dude," they're like, "Your 4 o'clock game is our 1 o'clock game." They're like, "You're talking about the 10 o'clock games." I said,
"The only thing that sucks for them is if they have like a 9 o'clock game, I guess." Is
that
like how those 9 o'clock games, they pretty much just
it's like 5 a.m. there. So
yeah,
like if the Rams are playing abroad, you got to basically go to the club, go get breakfast, and go right back to the sports bar.
Eggs and eggs right there for you. But that's my thing is like, does that just show you how much the West Coast means nothing to the NFL, that you're going to put games on just to get it in Germany or England or wherever, and then you're just like, oh, F you, the West Coast, I don't care.
Yeah, but it's actually kind of cool though. Like you said, to get up. I mean, you could basically watch a full day of football, and it's 8:30 by the time everything's over.
That is where I'm
do whatever. So for
you want to hear a funny story? This isn't Pat, but it definitely sounds like something Pat would have done. So my buddy, we've had this conversation for years. It's a friend of a friend. I wouldn't really call him a buddy. The guy's not playing with a full deck. He's not a genius in any which way.
Sounds just like Pat.
But I didn't think he was a complete moron, right? But there is some times where the man can really make you go, okay, maybe he's a complete moron. And like to the point where I think it was legally they had to stop him from having children because they were afraid of his procreation would spread whatever moronic disease he had. He would say some things and do some things. So he came in. He was so excited. He bought a hacked satellite, like from DirecTV back in the day.
Oh yeah,
So you get everything like East Coast, West Coast. So he goes, "You guys want to come over?" He goes, "It's the greatest thing ever. Football, because we were having this conversation weeks ago. He goes, football will never be the same for us again." I'm like, with my new satellite thing. He goes, "It's perfect." He goes, "We can watch the game." We can watch the game at, it was 4. The Eagles were playing at 4, whatever, 4:25 or whatever. He goes, "We can watch the game at 1:25. Everybody else will be waiting for it while we watch it because we can watch the West Coast version." And I just stopped.
That's definitely that.
And I'm like, and we all looked at each other. There's like 4 other guys there. 6 of us. There's 6 of us total. There's 4 other guys there. The other 4 guys and myself just stopped and just stared. And like I remember I had a hat on. I took my hat off, and I threw my hat down like in a fit of rage. And I stood up, and it's his dude's living room, might I add. It's not even like we're not out somewhere where like I'm in his house. I'm like, there is no way There is absolutely no way you could be this dumb. Tell me you're putting us on. Tell me you're trying to get a rise out of me. Like, please. I'm begging you that you please tell me. I'm crying, laughing, and like angry all at the same time. Everybody's just peeing themselves. They're like, and the guy's dead serious at this point. Dead serious. And I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, you see his wife with a basket of like laundry she's collecting, kind of poke her head around the corner. Yeah, he's serious, and like just like walks away, throws him under the bus. She tells us later, she's like, "Oh, we had this conversation," and I'm like, I'd explained time zones to him, and obviously it didn't click in because he's telling you guys this. So I'm sitting there going, and he had like 2 kids, and thank God they're really smart. whatever the genes the mom had, and the guy wasn't the most best looking dude, and I'm like, I kept asking her, I'm like, is he making a lot of money? She goes, he does okay. But I said, it's his dad's company, right? She's like, I'm like, all right, that makes sense then. It makes more sense to me.
All right, Al, it's time to wrap this puppy up. I want to give my picks for today. So far over Christmas and today, I didn't do props and locks this week, with the holiday. So we will be back this Tuesday for props, locks, and parlays. But I did write them down in preparation of this. So I took Dallas Christmas Day money line. They won. I took Minnesota getting 7. They won. I took my first L last night. I had Green Bay minus 2.5. They got beat last night. So these are my 4 picks for the rest of the day. I am going with the Jacksonville Jaguars minus the 6.5. I am taking the Pittsburgh Steelers minus 3. I'm taking Carolina plus 7 against Seattle, and I'm taking the Eagles. I got them at 1.5 points, so I'm getting the Eagles with 1.5. So those are my,
at that point, 1.5 points.
Yeah, so that will be. Those are my picks for today. What's your meal of the day? What are you doing today?
I'm actually going to a family party, like kind of one of the last holiday parties I have to go to. So. Eating a lot there. That's it. What it is, I don't know, but whatever it is, it'll be a lot of it.
Me too. I don't know yet. I got some running around to do before I get back here in the lab because, guys, you will be seeing my face 2 more times today because I will be back on after the Eagles game for the post game for Eagles Bills. And also I have cleared the ice tonight with the Flyers and the Kraken. So literally between the Flyers post game and the Flyers post game, we have Matty B who will be doing, the final word with him. So I'm pretty sure he'll have a lot to say. What's your final prediction score for this Birds game today, Al?
I'll go with what I said earlier. It's going to be a 27-24 Eagles lose. I'm going to say I think the Bills have a lot more riding on it. I'm not saying the Eagles aren't going to put their full effort forth, and again, if things play out the way it does before their game plays, maybe they don't.
I'm going 31-17 Birds.
Wow, you're shellacking.
I don't think it's going to be close. Every time Josh Allen's got to play,
Vegas apparently thinks it is at 1.5 point spread.
What's that? They gave it a 1.5 point spread because it's on the road. I mean, but listen, if they really, really, truly thought that Buffalo was going to win this game, the point spread would have been -3 for Buffalo. It would have been Buffalo -3. You get 3 points just for being at home.
You would think they get 5 plus. They get 5 points for
exactly.
So the way you think they should be thinking. I just don't think Vegas would have it that close if they think it's going to be some sort of.
Oh no! Listen, that's only to put the money in. That's only for money, dude. That's for you to put money on the Bills. A lot of people are going, oh, they're only giving up 1.5 points. We're going to take the Bills. There's a lot of money riding on the Bills today, but you just got to look at the optics. Every time Josh Allen plays a tough defense, he does not win. He don't win. If you can literally stop I told you the keys to the game. You stop Kincaid. You stop Cook. You stop them too. Josh Allen's not going to have nowhere to go with the ball. Again, no Nakobe Dean for this game. So I think the blitz up the middle might be a little hesitant unless they start sending Jahai Campbell. But I do like the fact they don't have they don't have Porter Porter in the back of their secondary. So that's going to kind of really take it down. And again, they're still looking for guys to play wide receiver. Like literally as of last week, they were auditioning guys. They're sitting guys down. They're putting guys back up because there's no continuity with his wide receivers whatsoever. Coleman's kind of in and out. Mikael Hartman, he's kind of in and out.
Didn't they get Brandon Cooks?
No.
Who did they just pick up recently?
Gabe Davis.
No, hold on. I thought
Gabe Davis. They just brought him back. He was on a practice squad for about 2 weeks, and then they brought him up to the full roster.
Brandon Cooks is on there.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. They brought him in like a few weeks ago.
Oh, well, I haven't seen him play.
He was dropped, or he was cut from Cowboys? No,
he wasn't on the Cowboys.
Who was he on? I forget where he. Oh, Houston. Was he in Houston?
No, I can't remember. I thought he was with New Orleans. I thought he went back to New Orleans. So, but yeah, you're starting to see a lot of trend with that too. Like you see guys sign somewhere in the off season, and then if it's not working out there, then all of a sudden, like name guys are getting dropped so they can catch on and go play, for in the playoffs.
It's also probably a little salary dump too. That way they can get rid of them and somebody else picks up a chunk, a third of their salary. I mean, like somebody like Maddie tried telling me that C.J. Gardner-Johnson was one of the Eagles are trying kicking themselves over. I'm like, probably not as much. I mean, listen, the guy was he 3 teams altogether this season?
He was 4. He was with Houston.
Mm-hmm.
First we traded him, so he was on our team to start the year. He got traded to Houston. Got cut from Houston. Got picked up by Baltimore. Basically, he got picked up because they were getting ready to play Houston. And he was there that week. After that week was over, they cut him, and then he went to the Bears.
Yeah,
and that's where he's been since.
And he's doing well there. But that's my thing. And I said, it's got to be more than that. If the Bears, after the kind of season he's had for them, don't sign him on and give him the kind of contract, not the exact contract he wants. He probably thinks he deserves $10 billion. But that just goes to show you there's a problem.
Yeah,
he's absolutely. I mean, I think he already is. I mean, even the Eagles picked him. Like they dropped him, let him go to the Lions first season, and then come back here, and then dropped him again. He has to be a problem. I mean, he's treated like a $5 hooker, man. They use him, abuse him, and get rid of him. Like
pretty much like that. That's basically it, man. Like I just don't.
I still think if Howie could go back in time and fix something, it would be the Mekhi Becton situation. I think if he could keep him, because what he got paid anyway wouldn't probably be more.
Yeah, but you know what? There's rumblings there that they're going to cut off. They're going to move on from him.
Oh, really?
Because he's been hurt. So it looks like they're probably going to cut him. He's one of the names they were talking about that when the Eagles played going into it. I was, we listen. I listened to content creators that do Chargers, and I was kind of getting their view of it and everything. And they feel like they were sold a bag. They were sold a bag of bad goods with
here. And the thing is how many times do guys leave, get good contracts because their team won, right? And then just don't hold up. We just talked about Tom Brady. How many wide receivers did he have that he was like just stats upon stats, and then they go somewhere else and they're just not the same?
Look at that. I'm gonna bring up a guy right now.
The scheme has like Josh Sweat. I'll give him credit. He's been a lot better for Arizona this year than I really expected him to be. I thought he was definitely because people were so focused on Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, he was eating. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's kind of like I call it the fast food kind of mentality when they have all the fast food restaurants lined up, and the McDonald's is so busy that the Burger King next door is picking up the scraps that people don't want to wait in line for.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how I thought he was going to be. Now it's been a little bit better than that. It's really hard to gauge on an Arizona team that's not great. Plus, his former defensive coordinator was the head coach at that point. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it happens a lot. And that's why I see these guys get these big payments. I get a little bullish about it. I'm like, this.
I wonder if Gannon gets fired. I wonder if Gannon gets fired on Black Monday this year.
Is there any rumblings on that? Because I felt like he just had a golden blanket for.
Yeah, I felt like that way too. Like you didn't hear his name being, but I got to imagine he's got to be almost as good as going out of there. Because
what's 3 years now? This will be his third year.
Yeah. So I mean, if you look at it, I mean, and they haven't had no significant turnaround. I feel like if you look at that team, man, you can pretty much kiss Kyler Murray goodbye.
I'm really surprised that the offense, but with the struggles with Kyler Murray, they didn't find boo Big L. That was for my call. Bob has them winning the next 2 games, going 12-5 on the season. I think they're 11-5. I think they win that even with Tanner McKee starting on next Sunday. But
can I ask you a question? Are you going to be disappointed if we turn our TVs on at 4:00? Now, mind you, this is the national game. This game is going to be seen across the country today because the only other 4:00 game is the Giants and Raiders. And I think everybody is getting the Eagles Bills except for Vegas.
It's American game of the week, right?
Right, but there's only 2 games. There's only 2 games. One game's on CBS, the other one's on Fox. So CBS has they got the Giants and the Raiders, which are only going to be seen in those 2 markets. Everywhere else is going to be Bills and Eagles. How disappointing would it be that the results of the 1:00 games, like if Seattle wins and New England wins, and they turn around and go, okay, well, we're not playing anybody. Guys, have a seat, and you come out and it's Mitch Trubisky against Tanner McKee. Think about that.
I don't like it. Like I said earlier in the show, I don't like it. You can't go 2 games in a row. You can't play against the Raiders and the Commanders and then have 2 games in a row where you take the rest of the season off. That's like taking 4 weeks off, in my eyes. Almost as bad.
But I mean,
I don't love it. I don't love it. I think they need to play this game.
No, but I'm a little angry about. They've been saying, literally for like the last month, that Lane Johnson will be back for this game, and then they don't bring him in.
That's gamesmanship. They're trying to. There's no way in hell unless them going into the playoffs, we're up like if they were like on the bubble or close to being on the bubble. If that was he might have played. Like if there's like a playoff style, like I need to get. If we don't win this game, we're not in. He might have played, but I think there was no way they were playing him, and I'm okay with that. Honestly, I wouldn't care if I saw him or Jalen Carter again into the playoffs. Kobe Dean, I guess, as well too. Save him for the playoffs. They all have playoff experience, Super Bowl experience, especially Lane. I'm okay with it. But other than that, the rest of the team should play. The rest of the team absolutely should play today. Even if Buffalo is throwing their hat in and letting Mitch Trubisky play.
Well, I will say this. I've had a very good week so far. I want to see it continue today with the Birds. Yesterday, my Nittany Lions went out there and smacked around Clemson. Again, I want to touch on this for a second. Why do these Southern teams take bowl games in Northern Hemisphere when they come up here and they look like they're going on an exploration? I think it's the most funniest thing to see. Watching that Pinstripe Bowl yesterday, you could tell, not just by the colors, of course, but when you were watching that game out, you could tell all the Clemson fans were the ones bundled up looking like they were on a Northern Hemisphere expedition where the Penn State are like taking their shirts off. And, it was really funny to see. And, that cold really had an effect on that game yesterday. But the Penn State defense looked good. But we're going to finish up, dude, because I know you got to get going and I got to get going and get some things done before I see you guys. So,
well, guys, this is the last Philly AM Sports
of the year.
Now, I was just kind of like a little dramatic pause. No, I'm just kidding, guys. Everybody got nervous, but no, of the year. So this is the last time you have as Matty B said, the Homer affirmation of 2025. So that means the next time we see you, your calendars will flip over to 2026. So that would be January 4th, right? Yeah, that's my birthday. So I will be 43 years old, and the calendar also will be turning at that point. So we will go from there, guys. Mike, you have a great afternoon. Go Birds. Plenty of Mike to see this week. Plenty of to see today.
I'm going to be on here so much, you guys are going to be sick of me.
Yeah, Steel City Sunday, of course. So you got the pre and post game for the Steelers. You had the Eagles post game with Mike. You had the final word with Matty B, and the Flyers post game with Mike. Flyers and Kraken. So you guys will be able to check that out. And then all the way through next week, you have plenty to do and see. So even a New Year's Day, Matty B will be giving you a final word So you'll have plenty to do. New Year's Eve. So if you say there's nothing to do here at the It's a Rap Sports Network, you're not trying hard.
We got plenty. We got plenty. Yeah. So yeah, make sure
other than that, guys, Mike, have a good day.
You have a good one, buddy. I'll be back later.
All right. He's not going to leave the seat, just staying right where he's at.
Exactly.
Turn his camera off, nothing. He's just staying. He's actually, Matt, if you guys can't see it on his ankle, Matt has him chained to his desk. And there's like a little apron or a little curtain that he pulls apart. He just whips Mike a little bit and puts him back to work.
Throws me scraps every now and then.
Yeah. Chew on this. All right, guys. Other than that, we'll see you later. For Mike Lauro, I'm Al Zafiri, and we are out of here.